Supreme Court Decision, Department of Education versus California, 24A910, per Curiam, April 4, 2025. Background and procedural history. The U.S. District Court for Massachusetts issued a temporary restraining order, TRO, on March 10, 2025, enjoining the Department of Education from terminating various education-related grants. The TRO required the government to continue paying obligations as they accrue and pay out past due grant obligations. The district court found that plaintiffs, states, were likely to succeed on the merits under the Administrative Procedure Act, APA. Supreme Court's review and decision. The government sought emergency relief from the Supreme Court, requesting a stay of the TRO. The Supreme Court construed the district court's TRO as an appealable preliminary injunction, noting the order closely resembled such injunctions in effect. The court concluded the government was likely to succeed in showing the district court lacked jurisdiction under the Administrative Procedure Act to order the payment of grant money. The APA generally waives sovereign immunity, but explicitly excludes suits seeking money damages or relief that another statute forbids. Claims based on contractual obligations to pay money are generally within the jurisdiction of the Court of Federal Claims under the Tucker Act, 28 U.S.C. Section 1491A1, rather than under the APA in district court. Analysis of harm and equitable factors. The court found respondents, states, failed to refute that the government would likely be unable to recover grant funds once disbursed because no repayment obligations or bonds were in place. The court determined respondents would not suffer irreparable harm, reasoning they had sufficient financial resources to continue their programs temporarily. If respondents ultimately prevailed, they could recover withheld funds through a proper lawsuit. Any harms resulting from discontinued programs would be self-imposed, therefore not considered irreparable harm. Conclusion and order. The Supreme Court granted the government's request for a stay, effectively pausing the district court's TRO and its subsequent extension. The stay remains effective pending appeal in the First Circuit and until final resolution if the Supreme Court hears the case on certiorari. If certiorari is denied, the stay automatically terminates. Note on dissent. Chief Justice Roberts indicated he would have denied the government's request. Overview/summary. In Department of Education versus California, 2025, the Supreme Court, per Curiam, granted emergency relief requested by the Department of Education, staying a temporary restraining order that prevented the government from terminating education-related grants. The majority reasoned that the government was likely correct in arguing the district court lacked jurisdiction to require payments under the Administrative Procedure Act, as such claims generally fall under the jurisdiction of the Court of Federal Claims. It also determined respondents failed to demonstrate irreparable harm. Justice Kagan dissented, arguing that the court improperly intervened prematurely and that irreparable harm to the states was clearly demonstrated. She highlighted procedural concerns about the court's emergency docket. Justice Jackson, joined by Justice Sotomayor, offered a comprehensive dissent emphasizing jurisdictional errors, the lack of a genuine emergency, serious harm to the states, and the arbitrary and capricious nature of the department's abrupt grant terminations. Jackson sharply criticized the court's increasingly broad use of emergency relief as undermining judicial credibility. Together, the dissents underscored procedural irregularities, severe real-world impacts, and broader institutional concerns regarding the court's emergency interventions. Subscribe for more!